Good morning and welcome to KSAT News Now, streaming and podcasting every day at 11 a.m. I'm Priscilla Karaman and I'm here with Steven Cavazos.
Yes, so we are not RJ or Sarah or any of the guests that we saw in the opening, but it's great to be here with you. We have not anchored KNN together in quite some time.
It's been a couple of months, if not longer.
Probably a little bit longer, but it's pretty exciting to be here with you. How's your day been going?
It's going well. We were just talking about some New Year's Eve plans.
Oh yeah, we're at that stage in our life where basically now it's just sitting at home, having a nice dinner, maybe a glass of champs or two, but really ringing in the new year in comfort.
Oh yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. Somebody asked me earlier, what are your plans? I was like, nothing.
Doesn't it feel nice to say that?
It does. We're gonna have family over, but like it's not going to be anything big.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just be enjoying the couch is what I say.
I love that. You can watch the New Year's spectacle from the comfort of your living room. I think for me, it's just going out to dinner, just a nice dinner, a good way to end the new year, and then go home and just have a nice time at home and then go to sleep.
Yes.
Wake up in 2023.
Sarah was on here yesterday and she told me you're quite the connoisseur when it comes to eating out in San Antonio.
Oh, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. But, you know, there's a bunch of restaurants that are going to be open. I'm sure they're going to be packed with people. But the good thing is our weather has been pretty nice. And I think we're going to hear from Justin a little bit later on. But yeah, it switched up here in South Texas and we'll check in with Justin in just a little bit. But we have to talk about two major events happening here in San Antonio. That's the Valero Alamo Bowl. That's tonight. And next month's MLK March. But first, we want to get right to what's happening in Buffalo, New York.
Yes, roads have officially reopened in Buffalo following last week's historic blizzard. And Mayor Byron Brown announced the driving ban was lifted just after midnight today, noting significant progress had been made on snow removal.
Yeah, some of the roads that reopened include suburban roads, major highways, and Buffalo Niagara International Airport. Now, those have all officially reopened, but Brown did urge residents not to drive if they didn't have to.
At this time, more than 36 deaths have been reported in western New York, but officials fear that number could rise as search efforts continue.
At one point, the National Guard conducted wellness checks on residents who lost power. At times, Buffalo police and officers from other law enforcement agencies resorted to using officers' personal snowmobiles, trucks, and other equipment during their search efforts. And, I was reading a little bit more about Buffalo. That area is no stranger to any severe weather storms, but you think back to that blizzard in 1977. Officials are reporting that the death toll now has surpassed that. And, of course, many people want to know what went wrong here.
And you can see some of the video here, that the pictures of all of that snow that's been accumulating. And like you said, they're no stranger to it, but man, that is just so much. It obviously was enough to make it very devastating for them with all of these deaths that they are discovering. And we'll just continue following what's happening in New York. And
they've also said, the officials there, that they've declared, the emergencies. They warned residents. They had the equipment, they had the crews on standby, but when those winds came in, I think it was the force of the blizzard that really wasn't what they expected. So unfortunately, yeah, it's devastating out there. People were trapped in their cars. Yeah. We're hearing reports every time I scroll on social media. It just seems some other sad news just pops up from Buffalo. So hopefully we'll see some positive news at some point, but right now it just seems like they're just getting started with these search efforts, and I think they fear that death toll could possibly rise, unfortunately.
Yeah,
sad stuff.
We'll continue following that story and bring those updates to you as they come in. We do want to turn right now to COVID-19. Testing is going to soon be a requirement for travelers flying into the U.S. from China. This news comes as other countries have taken similar steps in effort to keep infections from spreading beyond China's borders.
That's right. The new rule requires U.S.-bound travelers from China, Hong Kong, and Macau to take a COVID test no more than 2 days before travel. And in order to board the flight, that test must be negative.
This rule also applies to people who travel from China via a third country and people connecting through the U.S. If a person does test positive 10 days before the flight, they can provide documents showing that they've recovered.
Now, the CDC issued a statement which outlined the reason behind the requirement, citing a surge in COVID-19 cases in China and a lack of, quote, adequate and transparent data. Now, I think we have a look at the San Antonio medium risk. It's right now at medium risk, with just over 400 reported new cases. 183 are currently in the hospital and 38 in the ICU and 5 on a ventilator.
And you've got to remember that a lot of these cases are going unreported right now because people are testing at home and then they don't share those results if they are positive. Another thing that people have been very worried about here locally and just around the country are the number of RSV cases, the flu, and also strep. So it's good that we're taking these measures, but we'll have to see, I think, after the holidays, what the situation is as far as COVID goes, you know, once people start reporting those after post-holiday infections.
Yeah, and another thing to note when it comes to these testing requirements from anyone traveling in from China, that actually starts January 5th. And regardless of a traveler's nationality or the vaccination status, it's still going to be required. We also know that you know, there are people that are traveling for the holidays, as you mentioned. It's during that time when we see people get together with families, and obviously getting together is when we tend to see more of those infections spike. But you think back to 2020 when we were monitoring that severe level or the risk level here in the city, how it's just completely different than what we saw maybe 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, and I was just saying the other day that it seems like the last 2 years have all kind of just been a blur. Like I forget that all these things happened between then and now because it still feels so fresh. But again, we're just gonna have to keep waiting to see, like I said, those post-infections. And one other thing that we're coming up on is actually the next MLK March.
Right, we know COVID-19 obviously it put a hinder on that, but we're less than a month away from the first in-person Martin Luther King March, and this is the first one in several years.
Yeah, it's about 2 years that we haven't had an in-person event. San Antonio is known for having one of the largest marches in the country, and this time the MLK Commission is hoping for even bigger turnout.
Yeah, over the last 2 years, the in-person event was virtually held, and in 2021, that was last year, unfortunately, it was canceled because of the pandemic, and last year it was switched to virtual because of a spike in COVID-19 cases at the time. So that was actually, see, when you talk about the years getting blurred together, that's definitely happening here as, you know, we read that story, but it's crazy as we see the progress being made, but I think we have a soundbite right now.
It was very difficult because I, again, have been involved with the march ever since I was a little girl. So it's not just a march or a parade for us, you know, it's just a symbolism of, you know, our freedoms for all and where we've come from and where we're going.
The MLK Commission says at the last in-person march, there were about 300,000 people who attended this time. They are hoping to get at least 50,000 more people to show up in January.
Yeah, this year's theme is Together We Can Be the Dream. Remember, the march is January 16th at 10 a.m. and it starts at the Dr. Martin Luther King Academy on MLK Drive. And it ends at Pittman Sullivan Park on Iowa Street. And that's where the celebration will be held. You can find all that info on KSAT.com. So it is pretty exciting because I remember at a time, and talking about the years getting blurred together, 2021, it was held virtually. And I remember speaking to some of the organizers about just the changes that had to be made just to pivot because of the pandemic. But it's really exciting because you mentioned there that it is the largest, one of the largest in the country. And we know that some of the commissioners and supporters actually lobbied City Council for a bigger budget from $100,000 to $300,000. And in fact, we know that those funds are actually going to help fund these other activities. So they're a little bit more flexible this year. So I think we can expect some exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really hope that they meet their goal to get more people out there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And it's not that far away, so hopefully it's not going to be too cold. But today the weather actually has just made a complete flip.
Yeah.
Yes. Remember last week when it was like 16? We missed those days?
I do.
Yeah.
You do?
I do. I prefer like cold weather when it's supposed to be cold.
Like during the holidays.
Yeah, and this muggy stuff, it ain't for me.
Okay, give me like 40, but 16 is a little much.
16, Priscilla, you're hardcore.
I know.
I was in the valley actually for the holidays,
cold there,
and
too.
it was cold there too. I think at one point maybe down in the low 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which down there is a big deal because they have all the
Yes.
citrus trees, and you got to protect those. They
Yeah.
don't like cold temperatures like that.
No, we're not about that.
It was a big cold outbreak. It was the whole country. I mean, even Florida had some sleet at one point. You don't see that too often. But anyway, switching gears a little bit. Blair Alamo Bowl. It's tonight, 8 o'clock, Washington, Texas. Our friends from Austin making the hour-long trip, and then our friends from Seattle making the long trip. But which school has played in the most Valero Alamo Bowls? Is it A, Nebraska, B, Texas A&M, whoop, C, Texas, or D, Texas Tech?
Rectum. No, I'm just joking. I'm going to go with C.
I'm
Okay.
going to say, what am I going to say? Let's go with B.
B. That's a good choice. That's a good school, right? Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want.
Unfortunately.
I should say
excuse
fortunately.
me.
The answer is C, Texas. They've played in 6 Alamo Bowls, if you count this year, 2006, 2012, 2013, 2019, 2020, and 2022. Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Nebraska have appeared 3 times each.
One day I'll answer one of these questions correctly.
You'll
I mean,
get
you're
there.
close.
Sometimes, you're just lucky. Some days, other days, you never know what Justin's going to throw at you.
You never know. That's why I put weather and in parentheses and sports 101.
Sports 101.
'cause, sometimes we have to dip into sports.
We're jam-packed here on Cannon. Love it.
Let's talk about tailgating, because there will be people tailgating outside the Alamo Dome. Yes. 60s this evening, perfect for tailgating. Cloudy, less humid. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. So it's been pretty humid this morning. We'll see humidity drop off a little bit this evening, but it'll be pretty rowdy down there, I'm sure, and parking and all that fun stuff. Good luck with all that. But as we look at the satellite picture, we've got a lot of clouds coming through. There have been a few breaks here and there. We've got some morning clouds, and we've got some high clouds layered over top of that. So you've got multiple layers of clouds here, and that's going to keep things fairly cloudy throughout the rest of today. Already up to 68 at the airport, so we're kind of ahead of schedule as far as temperatures go. 70 in New Braunfels, 63 Kerrville, 68 in Hondo, and mid to upper 60s around San Antonio. We started off in the 60s this morning. Humidity's been sky high. That led to some fog, but again, what a change from what we were dealing with just about 4 or 5 days ago. KSAT 12-hour forecast, 70 by 2 o'clock. We'll be up around 72 this afternoon. And then cloudy this evening. There are some chances of rain here, but we're not going to get too excited about it. Really, most of the rain is going to be east of San Antonio, and the chances are low. So anything we see is going to be few and far between. And it will be another mild night tonight. Quick check of that futurecast. And we bring rain chances up to 20% if you're east of San Antonio. This is this afternoon around 3 o'clock. Shows some spotty showers, maybe a storm, far northeastern part of the viewing area. That goes for this evening too. And then tomorrow, still fairly cloudy. We'll start to see some light showers trying to work in from the west. These two will be few and far between, and they won't put down much rain. So all in all, this is not going to be a big rain event for us. Then as we get into tomorrow night, sky's clear, and that makes for a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. The weekend looks great. 76 for New Year's Eve, 78 New Year's Day. Really can't beat that. I know it's not cold, but Priscilla, I'm sorry.
I know.
But we do have another chance of rain coming up on Monday, 79, as we officially go into the new year. And just a quick stat update for you, we will likely finish the year as the 2nd driest year on record.
I heard that somewhere. I read that
Yes.
somewhere.
Yeah.
KSAT.com.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great to have that weather at handy, just because I think a lot of people have felt like weather's been a little bit all over the place. We have that consistent cold now. It just feels completely different. So KSAT weather app, always
Yes.
great to have.
Especially in the winters, you
Yes.
pointed out, because it is day to day. In the summer, you pretty much
We know
what's
what we're
about
gonna
to come our
expect.
way. But in the winter, with these fronts, you've got to be prepared each and every day.
Look, and Justin also added some of those champagne flutes for us here, so that's wonderful. Way to be festive.
Yes, it's the big question is, will Justin be able to stay up till midnight?
I think so. I
Yes,
think you
he
can do
will.
it. I think our director does
I'm
not
rooting
think you
for
can.
you.
I try, but
I think you're going to try, and I think we're going to find out what happens, but I'm not sure. Maybe.
Do you keep
Now
the
I'm
kids up?
second-guessing it.
well, I think that's yes, but then it throws off sleep schedules.
Yeah,
See, I'm just sounding like a dad right now. Is what it is.
I'm
Well,
right there with you. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
I'm excited, but at the same time, hopefully we don't fall asleep.
Yeah. How about you and your kiddos?
Well, one of them is kind of like brand new. She's 2, so
Yeah.
so I don't know if she'll make it, but
Yeah.
she doesn't know what it's about
She's
yet.
she's
Yeah.
like, what is this day
Yeah.
anyways?
My oldest, yes, she will stay up. She will do some fireworks.
It'll be exciting for
Yeah.
her. Well, exciting stuff. But we're talking about exciting stuff. Yeah, that countdown to the 2022 Valero Alamo Bowl. It's actually happening tonight, and the teams have been getting pumped all week. There were pep rallies that were being held, and we obviously know that there were things happening at the Arneson River Theater this week, and the game is finally again happening tonight, and that's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, the Washington Huskies are taking on the Texas Longhorns, and with all the hype will come a lot of traffic, and that's why VIA is offering free park and ride services to the game.
Yes.
The fares are actually $2.60 round trip. Let me clarify that.
And we want, with the city officials and VIA officials are also urging people who plan to attend to get there early. We know that's going to be a pretty congested area, especially as we get folks heading out there during 5 o'clock rush hour. But that service to the Alamo Dome is expected to begin at 5 p.m., so that's 3 hours prior to the game. And service from the Alamo Dome ends 1 hour after the game. And we know that park and ride ticket sales actually end right around 8. So I believe a lot of people are going to take advantage of that opportunity. $2.60 to and from.
Yes,
right?
To clarify, $2.60 to and from, and this will just save you a lot of time if you're planning to head down there. So I mean, definitely you might want to take advantage of that so that you're not stuck in the 5 o'clock traffic jam.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards, just getting out from the Alamo Dome can always be tricky.
Yeah,
so.
and of course, just also to mention here, discounts for children, seniors, students, and active duty U.S. military. Cash and credit cards are accepted. And of course, that is going to begin at 5 p.m. So again, if you want to head out there, and we know a lot of people do, but they're expecting 60,000 people to pack the dome. So obviously, this is a great something to take advantage of, and you definitely want to make sure that you get there early. It's probably going to be super packed. But during 5 o'clock rush hour, I'm just thinking, oh gosh, I hope we have a TransGuide camera up there to show people the congestion that we can expect to see.
Yeah, and Justin mentioned there will be people tailgating, so I'm wondering how early, if they're not there already, we gotta see how early they're getting there.
Yeah,
to get all that prepped.
It's all about know before you go.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, or are you gonna be heading out there?
No, but no, I won't be. I'll actually still be. I'll be here.
Oh, you're producing
around
at 5
5. Yeah,
That's
I produce
right. You have the 5 p.m. newscast to take care of, and I will be getting ready to go take a nap or go to sleep because we have GMSA early
to get up
Friday
tomorrow.
morning. It feels like a Friday already. This year has been blurry. I mean, really, we talked about that earlier. It's just been a blurry year, but something I'm going to remember is doing KNN with you today. It was quite nice.
Yeah. Well, I have a question. I mean, a lot of people at the Alamo Bowl probably won't be drinking soda, but do you drink soda?
Oh, Dr. Pepper. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I don't typically, and if I do, I wouldn't admit to it actually, because I feel bad when I do. But this is actually that story that might surprise some people. As it turned out, Americans are cutting back on the number of sodas they're drinking.
Except for, like you mentioned, Dr. Pepper. The Beverage Digest released data about sodas in the U.S., and it found Coca-Cola controls about 40% of the U.S. retail market. Pepsi is in second place at 29%, and Dr. Pepper has actually grown in consumption from 2003 to 2021 to now control about 25% of the market.
The 9% jump may not sound like a lot, but it's impressive compared to a 26% drop in the carbonated soft drink category overall. Yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier, and Dr. Pepper, when you go to the movies, I mean, when I go to the movies, I always get just a cherry Coke. And I never think of a Dr. Pepper, but it depends on my mood. I don't know. Are you a Dr. Pepper consumer?
Every now and then. I do like soda, but what happens is I will open it, take a few sips, and I never finish the whole thing.
Did you have any rules when you were a kid when it came to soda? My grandma would never let us drink a full can of soda.
Yeah.
Always have. I had to share with the cousins. That was always the rule.
Yeah, my mom was pretty strict about like no soda, and if we did, she would get mad because I would do that. She'd be like, "You're being wasteful. You open it and you never finish it."
I thought my grandma just didn't want us to be too hyper around the house. I don't think she could handle all the grandkids going crazy. But yeah, I mean that's good news for Dr. Pepper. Now I have a craving for one.
You can go get one. There's a
They're
couple
in the
over
break
there.
room. Yeah, there's a lot of them. All right, but it was nice doing this with you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, and thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you tomorrow at 11.